Zuko, you must let go of your feelings of shame if you want your anger to go away.
But I don't feel any shame at all. I'm as proud as ever.
Prince Zuko, pride is not the opposite of shame, but its source. True humility.
Oh, dude! Oh!
Pride is not the opposite of shame, but its source.
Oh my gosh!
Hey, welcome back, folks.
Sifu Hotman.
To a very special episode of Learn With Us.
Yes.
Where we take YouTube videos that are worth your time.
We learned from him.
With you.
We
are breaking into something that we've wanted to get into for a while now.
a good long time now.
Pretty much, I mean, at this point, it's my favorite TV show.
I showed it to him because it was my favorite TV show.
But he showed it to me.
Of all time.
Avatar: The Last Airbender.
It makes you want to live life to the fullest.
This show, I have never watched a TV show, and we both agree on this, where after every episode, you are excited to do things.
Yeah.
Other TV shows, I'll watch it and be like,
Yep.
That's why I don't really watch many shows and stuff, because I just get into a weird state. But Avatar gets me amped.
Yeah.
And the reason being, I think largely, is that the writers of the show put brilliant philosophy,
and there is this consistent motif of simple life, simple living, simple traveling, slow, and the juxtaposition between that and then what the industrialization of the Fire Nation is trying to do, which really for me represents the industrialization of the world.
Yes.
And how much that has negatively impacted this world.
There is just so much symbolism.
There's so much in it.
We're going to assume, doing these episodes here, that you've watched the Avatar.
Yeah.
Because we cannot explain everything and then make these Learn With Us episodes.
Uh-huh.
I think there will always be stuff that you can pull from it.
Yeah.
But
helps to watch it.
It helps to watch it, and it's worth your time.
It's so
I would not
worth
say
your
that
time.
about any TV show.
No, me either. There's so much in it, and we feel like we have discussed that so much that we'd love to share that with people, because we don't know how much other people recognize all of the spiritual significance in the show. And I feel like that's such a cool thing to bring out.
Yes.
Especially if you're just into the show sort of passively, like I was as a kid, just really liked what the action scenes or the character development, stuff like that. But there is so much more to the show. And we are excited to share that.
So yeah, today we are watching a snip of an episode where Iroh, a character, teaches Zuko.
The best character.
Iroh is the uncle to Zuko. I mean, we're assuming you guys know all this stuff.
Yeah.
I forgot.
Yeah.
He's teaching him about the four nations, and we're going to see what types of underlying stuff we noticed the whole time.
All right, let's see it.
Why can't I do it? Instead of lightning, it keeps exploding in my face. Like everything always does.
I was afraid this might happen. You will not be able to master lightning until you have dealt with the turmoil inside you.
Yeah.
Jeez!
Yeah.
I forget how good this show is.
It's such a good show.
Yeah, so Zuko's trying to learn a high-level firebending tactic, which is shooting lightning out of your hand.
An external thing.
An external thing that you must first foster within you.
Yes.
And that is every type of bending comes from within you, and that's something that they teach throughout the whole show. And that just brings up the whole idea of what you're projecting into the external world. And the power of that is completely dictated by your internal state.
Yes. You could so easily watch Zuko and be like, oh, he's so dumb, he's stupid, he's arrogant. But we're all doing this subconsciously, not as explicitly as he is, but we're still doing these things of, oh, why is this thing not working out for me? Why can't I tap into this great power? But we're putting our hands out to that instead of like this,
And it also, that whole idea that you just said about Zuko very explicitly saying, why can't I do this? It's so annoying. Things like that, where we're like, that's an annoying character. That character is representing that part within us, too.
Yes.
And making it obvious so that we notice, oh, that's annoying that he keeps getting frustrated about those things.
Yes.
When we do that all the time with everything.
And that's why it's so pronounced, like almost to a crazy amount, how arrogant Zuko is and how in your face it is. So you almost have to recognize that oh, wow. Woo!
What turmoil?
Zuko, you must let go of your feelings of shame if you want your anger to go away.
But I don't feel any shame at all. I'm as proud as ever.
Prince Zuko, pride is not the opposite of shame, but its source. True humility.
Oh! Dude! Oh!
Pride is not the opposite of shame, but its source.
Oh my gosh. Because, yes, pride is so often a reaction to shame and insecurity. Because you feel like you have to take this thing that makes you really vulnerable and put this massive barrier around it, which is pride. It's this huge thing that you're outputting because of this thing that you're really afraid to share. But if you were just able to share that, this shame, it would release.
Yes,
it would release.
You see in the way Zuko's reacting to Iroh saying, we need to work on this turmoil within you. He goes, I don't have turmoil.
Yeah.
I am as proud as ever.
Yeah.
And it relates so well to the whole, like, alpha person culture.
Yes.
Where it's like, I am all these things and I am dominant. You beta. And it's like, dude, what the fuck? Like, clearly you're just hiding stuff.
Yes.
Because if you were comfortable in yourself, you would be lifting others up.
And you would be a lot less, you'd feel a lot less like you had to externally tell people that you're comfortable with yourself and that you're worthy and that you're justified with what you're doing. You'd be able to just internalize that and know that within yourself. And then that confidence would just exude from you naturally instead of that being a forceful thing of you having to tell people all these great things that you are and that you do rather than just doing those great things and being that great person, you know?
And that's what Uncle Iroh represents.
That is absolutely what he represents. My theory is that Uncle Iroh represents what these writers think is the ideal person. The ideal. Maybe that's just me projecting on it because that's what I think in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Is every time he reacts to a situation and the way he is, I can't think of a character in any movie or show or anything that I would rather emulate. It's hard to think of a person that I'd rather emulate.
He is also another reason why we'd potentially say that. There's a spirit world in the show.
Yeah.
And all the avatars are able to tap into it because they are the bind between the spirit and physical world. But then a spirit flies past Iroh and he sees the spirit.
Yep.
So he is tapped in so pretty much enlightened at that point. He's working with the things that we think only the avatars can work with.
I'm laughing right now because this kid, he's only seen Avatar.
I haven't seen The Legend of Korra yet.
And it's just, laugh with me, will you?
Pride is not the opposite of shame, but its source. True humility is the only antidote to shame.
Well, my life has been nothing but humbling lately.
I have another idea. I will teach you a firebending move that even Azula doesn't know, because I made it up myself.
He goes, being humble is the antidote to pride, which is the antidote to shame. So if you are able to be humble, and what you see Iroh constantly doing throughout the show is laughing at himself when he goes through things and taking it lightheartedly, which is just being humble, which is why he's not carrying all the shame.
And he's not judging himself for the things that happened, because in the past, of course, since you've watched the show, you know this, he was a general and he did some really bad things, but he doesn't hold that shame. He does recognize what he did in the past, and he's trying to fix that clearly with his life, but he doesn't hold that shame, and he doesn't let that keep him from being as great as he is. Which is just, reflect on that. All the things that you might have done, if you're holding that, of course you wish you hadn't done certain things in your life, but if you're holding that with you every day, that is holding you back from right now, which is the only thing that matters, right now, that is holding you back from being that great thing that you can be. If you're holding that shame.
All right, so he's about to explain to Zuko this new move by explaining
The Four Nations.
the Four Nations.
Yeah.
The people of the Fire Nation have desire and will, and the energy and drive to achieve what they want. Earth is the element of substance. The people of the Earth Kingdom are diverse and strong. They are persistent and enduring. Air is the element of freedom. The air nomads detached themselves from worldly concerns and found peace and freedom. Also, they apparently had pretty good senses of humor. Water is the element of change. The people of the Water Tribe are capable of adapting to many things. They have a deep sense of community and love that holds them together through anything.
Why are you telling me these things?
Okay. First of all, I don't know why it's so satisfying to watch him draw all the nations, but
It's
it
just
is
perfect. Every
just
line, you're like,
oh, that's so nice. Okay. But regardless of that, what this makes me think of is recognizing all of the differences that we have. But not as differences, but as gifts. Because we all have different gifts that we can give to the world. We're not all going to feel fulfilled by the same things. So we're searching for a fulfilling life. That's going to mean something different for me, different for you, different for all of you watching. And that's important to recognize because like there is this separation between the Four Nations in this show, there is separation between what we are good at and recognizing that we don't all have to be great at the same things, which is this makes me think of our school system and how we're all just sort of channeled through. You're supposed to be good at probably math and science. That's the best thing to be good at.
It's going to make you the most money.
Make you the most money. And just, we need to break out of that mindset because there are so many people, like looking at people with Down syndrome or autism, instead of looking at them as, oh, they have a disability. They have this issue with them. Their mind isn't right. Instead, shifting that and saying, oh my gosh, these people have the ability to look at the world from a completely different perspective than all of us. You know, that's just a microcosm of this huge thing of recognizing that our differences in culture, like what he's talking about with the Four Nations, but differences in individuality is so important to recognize and try and uplift each other and learn what is fulfilling for each other, because it's not all the same. We're not all going to have the same things, you know?
Why are you telling me these things?
It is important to draw wisdom from many different places. If we take it from only one place, it becomes rigid and stale. Understanding others, the other elements, and the other nations will help you become whole.
oh, dude. We're dropping a song on Friday, I think, and it's a song that I just wrote, but the chorus is about not wanting to define who you are because it blocks you from flowing with energy.
Ooh.
And that whole idea right there is like, there are people who are good at X, Y, Z, W, but I was like, what's the fourth nation? But if you just identify yourself with that thing, you are closing yourself off from this massive flow of wisdom that is all of these different learnings. And that's the same if you're closing yourself off to other people and saying, I am right, you are wrong.
Yeah.
It's about going at life with this, I don't know, openness.
Humbleness.
The humbleness, it comes back, of course.
Comes back around.
And that's why Iroh is able to learn this move that no one has ever done.
Yes.
Because he comes at it with humbleness and goes, I learned this from the X-benders and this part from the other benders.
And then it makes you think of the White Lotus.
Yes.
Which is just the people who don't necessarily identify just with their nation. They identify with this unity that they all share that goes above these divisions that we create between each other.
Ooh. Ooh.
It is the combination of the 4 elements in one person that makes the avatar so powerful. But it can make you more powerful too. You see, the technique I am about to teach you is one I learned by studying the waterbenders.
Holy moly. I forgot how good that show is.
That is such a good show. That was 2 minutes of Avatar. And, like, look at where it took us.
Oh my gosh. Exactly. And then the people who watch the show and are like, oh yeah, that's a cool show. I watched it when I was a kid. We're like, put some respect on its name.
Yeah. No, I watched it when I was a kid. And there were so many things that I kept coming back to in my mind, even before I even heard that it was coming out on Netflix and, you know, everyone's watching it again. And there were things that kept coming back to my mind like, oh, wow, that show had something going on. And like, oh, geez, like this other part I'm just remembering. And I was like, maybe I'll rewatch it. And I was blown away. Blown away by how much depth there is to it, because I am such a different person with different values than when I watched it when I was like, 10 or 11 or something like that. Now, being 22, I am so interested in so many different things. And this show was able to just something, it's so cool to recognize things that were there in your life that had so much wisdom, but you didn't recognize it. Like a book that you picked up at one point, or a podcast, or a music. A song. A song, or a show like this, anything that you kind of overlooked at the beginning. Like maybe if a musical artist comes out with an album and you don't really connect with it.
Yeah.
But then you grow as a person, come back to it, and you're like, oh my gosh, these people were on this crazy thing that I didn't even recognize. That's such a humbling thing. That's such a cool thing. It helps you recognize your growth as well.
Listening to yourself when you're not ready for something or you are ready for something, the more you can get in touch with that just gut feeling of like, this is what I want to do right now.
Yeah.
And doing that thing, you'll start to see wisdoms pop up where you're like, this is making sense with everything in my life right now. Why is it making so much sense?
Yeah.
Lesson from this episode, be humble.
Seriously.
That's the
and
lesson.
that just fixes a million problems. Doing that one thing fixes a million problems.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Well, thanks for watching this Learn With Us episode.
Let us know if you enjoy the Avatar style.
Yeah, because we enjoy it.
Yeah, because it's dope. We'd love to keep doing it.
We would love to keep doing it.
Because it's so good to go back. So good.
Do the stuff, you know, all that fun stuff.
Comment, like, subscribe.
Yep.
We'll be making more of these if you ask for them. Probably if we just want to anyway.
Probably if we just want to.
But hey, much love. Thank you for being here. Sifu Hotman.
Sifu Hotman.